The New York Jets just got two scary updates, one being on one of our top targets of the offseason and the other being on one of the best coaches out there in the coaching carousel. We got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Jets Football 365. If you're a New York Jet fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton, and we are so close to reaching my goal of 1,000 subscribers. But let's jump right into the news for today. Coming from DolphinsTalk.com on Twitter, they took a quote from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler from something that he said on TV today. And he said, Jeremy Fowler on Malik Willis possibly to Miami. Fowler said, no regime will know Willis' strengths better than Miami, which just hired a brain trust of general manager John Eric Sullivan and head coach Jeff Hafley from Green Bay. The Packers valued Willis' development, and Miami could bear the fruits of that labor. If you didn't see it, believe it was last night, maybe yesterday afternoon, the Miami Dolphins, one of our biggest rivals in the division, they hired Jeff Hafley to be their defensive coordinator hired Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley to be their head coach going forwards here. They also hired John Eric Sullivan out of the Packers front office to be their general manager moving forwards. So they have two ex-Packers decision makers now being the top decision makers for the Miami Dolphins, and they will likely be after Malik Willis, who is one of the top quarterbacks in the free agent market going forwards. When there was an interview with one of the members of the Miami Dolphins coaching staff, they asked, who are the core players that you're building around? Tua's name was not brought up, meaning they're done with Tua and they are looking for another quarterback to take that spot. You may ask, why would people go after Malik Willis, or why should the Jets be going after Malik Willis if his stats haven't been that impressive over his career? As we can see here, his best season as a whole only contained 550 passing yards. So not the most impressive thing in the world, but we have to remember this is a player with an extremely limited number of starts. Malik Willis has only had 6 starts in his NFL career, splitting those starts going 3-3. So the question that people want to ask is, can this guy get into a rhythm, and should he be your full-time starter? Could he lead to more victories? We watched Malik Willis, week 17 versus the Baltimore Ravens, and it got Jets fans excited because we knew his rookie contract, which was signed in 2022 and lasted 4 years, so 2, 3, 4, and 5. That contract's up. Malik Willis will be a free agent unless the Packers re-sign him, when they're likely not going to, since there is interest in Malik Willis in the free agent market, potentially as a starting quarterback. So Malik Willis, he's going to want to test that market, and he maybe wants to come to a team like the New York Jets, a team where we know Aaron Glenn wants a dual threat quarterback. It's one of the reasons why he signed Justin Fields. It is one of the biggest reasons why they make so many of the decisions that they have made so far on offense. They want to really dial into a rushing offense, not just because we don't have a quarterback or wide receivers, but they want to have a mobile quarterback who, paired with a talented running back and a great offensive line, will be able to take the will of the teams that we are matching up against. Malik Willis has shown some promise in this department in his 6 starts as the Packers starter. He's had some very impressive games. I mean, he really does showcase his dual threat ability when he is given the opportunity to start. And I know it's been sparing in 2022. He was expected to be maybe even as high as a first round pick because he had that elite trait of being a phenomenal rusher, but wasn't deemed to have the skills to read defenses at a high enough level. But if we look at his statistics, and specifically at his completion percentage, 85.7% this year, last year 74.1%, and then 80% in 2023. So he's made good decisions with the football ever since his rookie year, which he clearly needed more development. As we can see, his completion percentage was 51%, and he threw 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I mean, those are Justin Fields numbers, but just take a look at his quarterback rating and the completion percentage. Since then, Malik Willis has clearly found some level of development in the NFL. I'm not suggesting that we make him our starting quarterback for the long term, but he is a name that has been it's been brought up a lot in circles regarding the New York Jets, and it's someone that we need to be treating as I don't want to say likely, but a very possible candidate for our starting quarterback, at least for the year of 2026. But now let's move on to our next topic here. The New York Jets. We got Aaron Glenn. The year did not go how we wanted it to. A couple days ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to move on from their longtime head coach, Mike Tomlin. A lot of people were asking themselves, is it possible for the Jets to acquire Mike Tomlin? He's likely the best head coach out there in the world who's not currently coaching at the NFL level. How do we acquire him? First of all, the first reports were coming out that Mike Tomlin was highly likely going to be spending a year on TV and then returning to coaching, but we are now getting a new report on what exactly Mike Tomlin's plans are here moving forward. From Dov Kleinman on X, this is all coming from Jay Glazer as a source, a insider for NFL Network. Breaking, Mike Tomlin is done with coaching and won't come out of retirement, according to Jay Glazer. I know people could also say, could Mike Tomlin also come out? That's not happening. Mike T is done. One of the best coaches of all time is done. So, unfortunately, it does look like the trade for Mike Tomlin is not going to be a realistic scenario for the Jets, or even a scenario that will be on the board at all, which is extremely unfortunate because one of the things that we needed the most was a head coach that was going to be able to pick up the entire organization, someone who would be able to hold all the players accountable and everyone in the organization. Looking at you, Woody. I know it's not supposed to be the head coach's job to hold the owner accountable, but sometimes when you're just stuck with a bad owner, you got to find a head coach that's going to take that accountability and hold other guys accountable and make sure that the entire franchise is on the up and up. I understand it was always a long shot, especially with Woody Johnson remaining the owner of the New York Jets. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things that won't change with the New York Jets going forwards, but when we are hearing, rumors of people not wanting to come out because they're worried about being drafted by the New York Jets, that is something that absolutely has to change. That cannot be something that your franchise battles with. I mean, it's super embarrassing, and it's crazy that we're even in this position where you can say something like that about your football team. There are 32 NFL teams, only 32 starting quarterback spots. It is absolutely insane that people can come out and say something like that, and they're wrong. That's not why Dante Moore stayed in, but they are not 100% wrong. That is very highly likely something that at least factored in a little bit in Dante Moore, the Oregon's quarterback, in his decision to stay in college, was dodging the New York Jets, which is something that has to change. But Woody Johnson, he's been doing things his way for a long time. Maybe he changes, maybe he doesn't. And whether he does or whether he doesn't, I will be here making videos about it. Thank you for watching. If you took the time to watch the video all the way through, please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Jets.